My name is Spencer Wright. I make the Public Radio, which is a single-channel FM radio. I write The Prepared, which is a manufacturing newsletter. And in my day job, I work mostly on metal 3D printing design. Around the same time that we were prototyping the Public Radio, I started a newsletter for no particular reason. I called it The Prepared, which was a reference to the adage, fortune favors the prepared. It was just kind of anything that I found interesting that I was reading, I would collect. At the time, it was on a Friday night. Now it's ended on Fridays. And that was 5.5 years ago. It is now the job that I have had longest in my entire career. It's a weekly newsletter that's mostly about manufacturing and engineering and kind of the built environment. And it has kind of grown despite itself in a way, or in spite of itself. It was never meant to be a big thing, but somehow you do something over and over and over again for 5 years, and people find it and they give you feedback and they ask you to have coffee, and it ends up turning into a weird community, apparently, that is all kind of centered around not so much hardware products, somewhat manufacturing, somewhat hardware products, somewhat just engineering in general. I have a background in construction. I bring a lot of that into it as well. And it ends up, in a funny way, being this, it's kind of a marketing platform in a way, which is funny because I don't even think of myself as a very good marketer, but it ends up being this kind of repository of things that are compelling and that have to do with areas of the world that most people aren't thinking about, kind of. Manufacturing is just people doing things over and over and over again in a predictable way. Like, it's not this like idea of like robots doing crazy stuff. It's mostly just people with their hands doing stuff. And so if you're trying to make manufacturing easier, I think that you should be going and doing those steps yourself and actually, being present and being aware of all the steps in your process that are just physically difficult or confusing or so on and so forth, or time consuming. I think that product engineers or any entrepreneur who's making a product should be experiencing what it is like to make their thing as often as possible and as early as possible, and actually baking that into their engineering process. Before we launched on Kickstarter, we did hand PCB assembly, surface mount assembly of probably 40 units or something like that, and probably sold a couple of them through informal channels, and then launched it on what was at the time Grand Street, which was like a pre-sale, among other things, was a pre-sale platform. So we were friendly with Amanda Payton at Grand Street. We were aware they were doing this pre-sale thing, and we were like, great, this is perfect for us. We're not ready for a full Kickstarter campaign, but we do want to get some feedback. And so we threw this thing up there. And, it wasn't like the quintessential idea of an Etsy product maybe, but it was basically manufactured that way. Like, it was us with tweezers placing surface mount components on a printed circuit board and then putting that printed circuit board on a hot plate and hoping it didn't burn. And then when we did tests of every single one of them, we had a pretty high failure rate. And the ones that worked, we put them on Grand Street and we sold them at, if we had paid ourselves anything, we were taking a loss. We packaged them up the best way we knew how to, which was in a little brown paper box. And inside, we bought some little cards and we hand wrote a little thank you note to our customers and included our cell phone numbers on this card. We said, if you have any problems, just call us or text us. You make this product and you sell one of them, they kind of just go out into the ether and you assume that everything is okay, which is what we did. And then there was some, Thursday evening, and it was probably in the summer, and it was relatively late. It was like 9 p.m. or something like that. And Zach and I both got this text message. And I don't even remember if there wasn't any text originally. It was an MMS with a video that this person had taken of their radio turning on, and this woman had her son had bought one of our radios off of Grand Street, given it to her, and she made these mason jar lights that had little, like, they look kind of like fireflies. They had like a couple of LEDs inside, and they kind of sparkled. And it was this little video of her with her art and our radio in the middle of it, and the hand goes into the frame and turns the thing on. And it was clearly just a video that someone had taken on their porch of our product, and then sent us this video in a text message, and then just had a little note afterwards that was like, "Thanks so much, I love this." And it was just the most charming thing in the world. It was like, we sent this thing out there, it went to some woman outside of Tulsa or something like that, and she decided to text us a video, and it was just so sweet. And you asked like whether you should hire a salesperson or a marketing person, and if we were more sophisticated, we absolutely should have, and we didn't. But that exact response, getting this text message at 9 p.m. on a Thursday in August, was just so gratifying. And if we hadn't done that, I don't know if we would have eventually shipped any more of the product. It was just so nice getting that response from people. Because our product is customized on a per order basis, because every single unit is programmed to a single station that the customer requests, we actually do a full functional test on 100% of all units that ship. So the person on the line who's assembling our product, they program firmware, and then our software, this Tulip app, actually does a full functional test and plays audio through our speaker, and the operator on the line hears that audio and has to explicitly say that they heard the audio and check a box. There are also a bunch of automated software tests that happen in the background as well. Again, we're a rare product, right? But that was very important to us, and because we're using Tulip in the way that we are, the full functional test ends up being effectively free for us. We're already doing all of that work anyway, and having the thing play audio is trivially easy, and it means that we do get full test coverage for every single unit that ships. Other products might not have to have that. I mean, and it really depends on the context and kind of what your customer is demanding and how much inherent risk there is in your product.